Welcome to Eternity Archives, a podcast by Eternity College for students, alumni, faculty, and friends. I'm Ernesto Duke, Eternity's president and the host of this podcast. At Eternity, we have students, alumni, and faculty living all around the world, living for the kingdom of Jesus. One of the most beautiful things about Eternity is how our diverse community, representing different countries, cultures, and backgrounds, comes together to study and be transformed by the scriptures. In this podcast, we hope to share the amazing story of Jesus' people in God's kingdom around the world at Eternity College. This is Eternity Archives. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for listening or watching Eternity Archives. I'm Ernesto Duke, the president of Eternity College, and I'm here with one of our students, Jadon. So, Jadon, thank you so much for being here with us. Just to get things started the way that we always do, I would love to hear from you just a little bit about yourself, your life stage, ministry, anything you want to share about yourself personally, and then we'll move on from there.
Okay, thank you for having me. My name is Jadon, as you stated before. I am coming from Washington, so that 49ers hat is not doing me too good. But
hold on, let me. I could change it. What do I have?
No,
I don't
you're
have
fine.
Another one. It's just my sons. I coach my sons' teams, and this year they're the Niners. I'm not a diehard Niner fan, and whatever the Niners did to the Seahawks, I apologize on behalf of the Niners.
It's not what the Niners did to us these days. It's what our own quarterback is doing to us.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, yeah, so Washington.
Yeah, and I've been Christian for about a year now.
Okay.
So I'm very new to the faith.
Yeah.
But I serve a lot in my church. I'm a worship drummer.
Okay.
So I help.
I can see the drum set behind you there. Yeah, maybe we'll get into that a little bit.
Maybe. So I help out with playing at Sunday services, but also my main role right now is the drummer for the youth groups.
Okay.
Where we have two different groups, one for middle school, one for high school, and I help out with both of those. So
awesome. Sweet. Yeah. Cool. Were you a drummer before you became a Christian, or this is something?
Yes, I've been a drummer for around 7 years at this point.
Okay, perfect. That's really fun. That's cool that you've been able to take something that you're already into and then integrate it into church ministry stuff. That's cool.
Yeah.
So I assume this could be a false assumption, but I assume this is a fairly large church you're part of. If you're in 3 bands at the church,
I would say that our church is actually on the smaller end.
Okay. What would how many people would you call like members or participants of the church?
I'm not sure how many members, but I would say we have probably 500 people per service, and we have 2 services on Sunday. So
okay. Well, our church has 35 people just once, so I think I'm going to call you medium, at least medium plus.
Okay.
We're going to
medium work.
Yeah. Awesome. And then what part of Washington are you in? I know there's kind of a big differences between the coast and then Eastern Washington. Where are you at?
I'm closer to Seattle than anything else, but
okay.
Yeah, close to Seattle.
Okay, cool. Well, so you've been a believer for about a year. What kind of prompted you to go to Bible college? Had you done college before Bible school?
No, I haven't. I'm not even out of high school yet, so I haven't done.
All right.
I haven't done anything, but
okay.
I was planning on going to college because I wanted to be a lawyer.
Oh, okay.
But once I started believing, I realized pretty quickly that being a lawyer was kind of a conflict of interest for me because I didn't know if I would be able to represent someone I didn't agree with morally.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I started to think about how I could apply myself in a way that would be suitable, and I think going to Bible college is the way for me.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah. There's eventually down the road you'll take a course, I assume, at some point called Applied Theology, Work and Vocation, or something like that. But one of the big conversations in those classes is how do we apply the story of the gospel, the story of the scriptures, to our vocation. And I think it's possible to be a Christian lawyer, but it's also uh, it's probably a field where, depending on what type of law you're practicing, it's going to be more and more difficult to maintain Christian ethics and values. But obviously, I'm sure there's. I mean, our family does foster care, and those lawyers are defending foster kids in the system, and they seem like good people, doing good things, you know.
Yeah, I was going to
But
be criminal defense, so that doesn't
yeah,
really
you're
line
trying.
up too good.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, maybe it'll switch. You never know. That's cool. I didn't realize. Now that you're saying you're in high school, I think I have we spoken before? Did we talk on the
Yes,
phone?
we have.
Okay. All right. Now it's kind of coming back. So you're in your senior year or junior year of high school?
I'm in my senior year this year, yes.
Okay. Very cool. And so what you've never done any college before. So what has been like different or surprising to you about Bible college, online Bible college? And then what is kind of maybe some things that were this is about what I expected it would look like.
Um, Something I was not expecting was to enjoy reading. I've never
Hmm.
liked reading, but now just sort of have to deal with it because there's a lot
Yeah.
of reading.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of reading.
And I expected going into it that I would love going to Bible college, and that hasn't changed. I'm loving it.
Awesome. Sweet. Sweet. Are you in what courses are you taking right now?
Right now, I'm in the Old Testament overview one.
Okay. Gotcha. Do you have a favorite book so far that you've studied, or has there what's something that's kind of stood out to you? I assume, being a newer believer, there might be some sections of the Old Testament in particular that you're like, oh, I didn't even know this is in the Bible. But what's kind of stood out to you from the lessons you've done so far? I know you're not done with the class.
One my favorite book of the Bible has always been the same, and probably always will be the same. It's Genesis.
Okay, why? I believe you,
Um,
but why?
Number one, I've read it the most because every time I try to read the Bible, I get
Yeah, you
lazy and then
start
I
at the beginning.
start back at Genesis.
Yeah.
But another reason is that it really shows how God is unwavering,
Hmm.
and it sort of shows how God can use kind of not great people
Hmm.
as a beacon of light and work through them, make them better people, but also produce better people around them through that person. And I think that's best emphasized through the patriarchs.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great lesson. That's awesome. Um, I will not fight you if you continue to believe that Genesis is your favorite book of the Bible. That's totally fine. Obviously, I'm the lecturing professor in that class, and so I have bias towards the Old Testament. You can have that too. Go for it. Cool, man. Well, I would love to transition a little bit. I'd like to hear. This has honestly been like the best and most thought-provoking section of all the interviews that we've been doing. I'd love to hear something that you feel like you are uniquely passionate about, or maybe something that you feel like God is moving you towards, or yeah, some sort of passion or desire or focus that He's given you that yeah, that's maybe more unique to you, and you recognize not everybody feels the same about this, but this is the direction God's calling me.
One thing that I have felt an immense calling for recently is wanting to reunite denominations in America.
Hmm,
Not like reunite like Presbyterian with Baptist, because that will never happen,
sure.
but trying to reunite different sub denominations into bigger denominations, like trying to reunite the Southern Baptist Convention with the American Baptists,
Hmm.
trying to combine those.
And is that birthed out of just seeing that like there's no reason why we should be so factioned in smaller groups, or is there what would be the benefit? Because there's two sides to that coin, right? There's like, well, we get to have our unique expression of church and community through some smaller denominations, and then there's the other side of, well, now we're all separate and we don't seem like a unified people at all. So what's the motivation, or what do you feel like yeah, what do you feel like led you to that?
The biggest motivation is the dying nature of the mainline churches these days
Mm,
because they're unfortunately being attacked by by liberal Christians coming in and not preaching the gospel anymore,
Hmm.
and that's very sad to me. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking that if we can reunite these denominations once more, the conservatives will come back to those denominations rather than retreating, so
Hmm.
we can actually start preaching true faith again.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely there's a lot of benefit in I mean, I told you earlier our church is like 35, 50 people or whatever. And that's fine and fun, but it does allow us to be very unique in our expression of the church and community and what it means to be the family of Jesus and where we live. But it can also be hard. It can be hard because of how small and under resourced we are. Um, and yeah, I think yeah, there's benefits on both sides of that. Well, that's great, dude. I would love to hear a little bit more about your drumming. Like what got you into drumming? Do you have like particular genres that you're into? And yeah, I mean, what do you enjoy about? I mean, obviously, it's a skill you have, but I would assume you also enjoy drumming, or you wouldn't be in three separate bands at the church. So what is it? What is it about that you enjoy, and how do you feel like you're able to worship Jesus through drumming?
Well, I think it really started when I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was around 10, 11, because I'm always fidgeting and stuff.
Mm,
Drumming really gave me the medium to fidget responsibly.
okay.
Maybe not considerable to
Fidget
other
response.
people,
Yeah. Yeah.
but for
Well,
me,
I'm wondering if at some point you had a real drum kit and then your parents were like, "Oh no, we need an electric one with headsets." Like that.
no, I've always been on electric kits
Okay.
because I've always lived in apartments and stuff,
Okay.
and acoustic is a no go
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah. It's not gonna work.
apartments. And when I first started, I started because of my dad, because my dad's a professional musician,
Okay.
and he was starting to lead me into guitar at a young age, and I was like, this is too difficult for me. I don't want it.
Mm,
And then I begged him to get me a drum kit, and he did for Christmas in 2017.
okay.
So that's really when it started.
And you've been going since then.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome. Tell me about that poster back there, Hellfire Club. Is that a band?
No, that's from Stranger Things.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, there's a few shows that I never started them, and then
Mhm.
that and like Ozarks and all the other that I realize every once in a while that I'm missing giant pop culture things. So that's on me. What kind of outside of church and worship music, what kind of genre of music do you gravitate towards? And yeah, I'd love to hear that.
I started doing pop punk
Okay.
when I first started because that's what my dad plays,
Hmm.
and I wanted to play the same music my dad played because that's all we listened to basically. And then when I started going to high school, I started getting more integrated into metal
Hmm.
and learning that, and that's really what boosted my drumming skill to be able to I can turn it up to 11, but also
Sure.
dial it back for worship.
Yeah. 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 Are you into any like Christian hardcore bands that you follow?
Uh, I'm trying to find some. It's hard for to find some that that I like because
Hmm.
my music taste is very diverse, so it's hard
Okay.
for me to find some. But Seventh Day Slumber, they're really good. They make metal covers of worship songs.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to connect you with Matt Buell, who's on this show 2 episodes ago, because he is a really hardcore Christian hardcore guy. He loves Christian metal.
Oh, that sounds
He's a
like
big
fun.
yeah. I don't know if he's a musician, but I know that he's constantly asking me if I've heard of X band, and I haven't. Yeah, yeah.
And you listen
Uh,
to it, and you're like, maybe I'd
oh,
wish I hadn't.
I know. I like hardcore Christian music. I mean, I went through like a phase. There's this band called Nodes of Ranvier, and then there was a band called Disciple, and there was a few other that I kind of like. Really, my best friend Elijah was really into it, and so I go to concerts with him. And I went to the nicest thing about a Christian hardcore concert is that people are like nice in the mosh pits. Like nobody's trying to hurt each other, and so that is like kind
Yeah.
of enjoyable. And I've been to one other non-Christian hardcore metal concert, and I was like, I would never do that again. Like people are literally they're trying. The goal is to like try and hurt somebody. Well, I don't. Maybe
Yeah.
that's not, but that's what it feels like, and that's like the energy. And so I wanted nothing to do with it. Um, all right, man. Well, unfortunately, I don't have any like random Bible questions that people have submitted yet, but I can just ask you one if that's okay with you.
Okay.
Okay. Um, let me try and get it relevant to our conversation here. Um, okay. What would you what I'm hoping some of the questions come in will be a little bit more devotional rather than just like random facts because that's boring. So, you already said that because you've restarted your Bible reading plan a bunch of times, you just read Genesis over and over again, which is fine. So, what is one lesson that you feel like you've taken from the patriarchs that you've applied into your own life, or you've taken the meaning of that and put it into your own life? And how is that like practically, how does that change the way that you live your life and interact with others? Yeah, something along those lines would be cool.
One the my favorite story in Genesis is the story of Joseph,
Mm,
because he's Joseph. And what I really like is that there was kind of a series of not great people, starting from Abraham going down to Jacob,
mm,
and I feel like they sort of passed that down of like, well, dad acts like that, so maybe it's cool if I do too.
ah,
And I think Joseph breaks that trend beautifully.
mm,
And I try to tell people that if your parents abused you, try not to take that out on your own children, because we need to break those cycles.
mm,
And I think that in Genesis, that cycle is sort of at the forefront
mm,
because of all of the bad acts of the patriarchs. And then
yeah.
Joseph subscribes to none of it and basically only does good.
So awesome. So how do you feel like that has influenced like your decision making, your worldview, anything like that? Yeah.
I think it has influenced me that no matter what you come from, you can always be better than that.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. That's a great lesson, man. Yeah, and I think there's a lot in our culture today, which is not all bad, but that recognizes trauma, childhood wounds, that the way you were raised does affect you. It might be an overcorrection to messages of the past that said, like, you can always just pull your bootstraps up and what happened to you doesn't matter. So maybe we're on like the pendulum swing of the other side, but I think it's a great message and affirmed in the patriarchs, like you're saying, that you can have generation after generation of lying, stealing, tricking, favoritism within a family, and then you can just decide, no, we're not going to do that anymore. That's not going to be how this family is going to continue on. And I have a lot of, maybe not a lot, but I can think of a few friends that this is true with drug addiction and alcoholism or whatever it might be. And it was just a thing. It's just that's what the people did. That's what parents did. You were alcoholics, you were drug addicts, and it does take a generation to reverse that. And it doesn't have to be a pattern that follows you over and over and over in that family. So cool, man. That's an awesome lesson. Um, Anything else that you want to share with us? Do you have recorded music like on Spotify or anything that you'd want people to check out? Or do you have
Uh,
a music page
yeah,
on a social?
check out Brad Noe
Brad Noe.
on Spotify. That's me and my dad produce for him, and I play drums on
Oh,
there. So
awesome. Let me see. I'm gonna write that down. Spell it out for everybody and for me. Brad. I can do that one pretty well.
yeah,
What about the last?
Noe.
Oh, perfect. Brad Noe. I'll make sure there's a link in the YouTube description as well, so you guys can click on that, check it out, and listen to Jadon's drumming. Well, thank you so much, dude. Thank you for
Thanks
being
for
on the
having me.
show. Thank you for everybody who listened and watched, and we'll see you next time on Eternity Archives.